21, 22, 23. Hello everybody. Welcome to the launch event of the Spaxels Research Initiative. We need to start right away. We're already a few minutes late, so I don't want to shorten the discussion time, lecture time of the lecturers here. The Spaxels Research Initiative really is a trial, if you want to say so, a collection of different partners from industry and research gathering together to understand the meaning of swarms really in our future for our society. Where does the Spaxels Research Initiative come from? We've started the Spaxels in 2012. This video went viral that time. It's a lot of drones in the sky, equipped with light, foaming, graphics and visualization in the canvas of the sky. That's been like already 5 years ago. And meanwhile, we have developed this understanding a bit better on swarms in general. And we've a next product shown this year for the first time at the Ars Electronica Gala. It's the drone screens. The drone screens that we are running now with the same swarm operating system. So our swarm operating system really allows to adapt to several different vehicles, not limited to Spaxels anymore. We have also started to confront ourselves with a multiple set of vehicles, of autonomous vehicles, directly, meaning in the shared space to interact with a swarm rather than single drones. And that is where the idea for the Spaxels Research Initiative comes from. It's totally different to interact with this swarm, or the understanding of this swarm of being coordinated, permanently connected, single autonomous vehicles. And they would react and interact with a person or with the society in a totally different layer. Furthermore, we were asking ourselves, as we also utilize floor robots, we were asking ourselves, what if swarms in the future would really meet our society? How would that feel? What would the drones know about us? What need to know about us in order to interact with ourselves? So the key question really was, what when swarms meet the society, and not what if swarms meet the society. I think we can predict that swarms in many different facilities will play a role for our society in the future. So this is what the Spaxels Research Initiative really is about. It's trying to jump ahead of the perspectives that we have right now, trying to understand the paradigms of interaction between humans and swarms. Shortly, swarms at the Spaxels Research Initiative are groups of coordinated semi-autonomous vehicles. So it's not that this is all about swarm behavior or swarm intelligence. It's not about the swarm as an interconnected environment. It could be a fleet of vehicles controlled from a central point as well. What we are interested in is less the single vehicle, is less the single agent in the swarm appearance. It's more about the actual integration with the swarm. So now when we talk about a group of semi-autonomous vehicles, very often we refer to this as being a group of identical vehicles, which I really don't think we are limited to a group of identical vehicles. Our future will coordinate a mass of different types of vehicles in the same coordination group, if you want to say so, in this same environment. So swarms per se are not identical agents. They could be agents of any kind. Which at the end leads us to the understanding of the swarm of a multicellular robotic organism rather than a group of individual vehicles. What we are interacting with in the future is actually an organism out of single agents with their different functionalities. Much like a body would be, like our body has eyes to see, sensors to think and feel, and that could be all distributed among different agents in one organism, in one organic form. But what if we interconnect all those mobile things? We will end up with something like the Internet of Mobile Things. And if so, what do we do if our environment is more intelligent as we ourselves are, at least more interconnected? These are the questions that are interesting us concerning the meaning of swarms for our society. And the partners of the research initiative are partners of the Ars Electronica Future Lab that we have been working with in the recent year. With NTT, you have seen the demo booth out there just like at 1 o'clock, and at 4 o'clock there's the next session going on where we focus on the work that we do with NTT on the topic of swarms. With Audi, we have been very active in the recent months to foster the understanding of the growing digitalization in the car and what's the impact of that digitalization for the different employees at Audi, for the different partners who work with Audi, but also for the society running with Audi. Autodesk, another partner, where we will show our swarm design and swarm operating system tool integrated in Autodesk products at the Autodesk University in October. The Johannes Kepler University is probably the oldest collaboration partner of the Ars Electronica Future Lab, and I'm very happy to have Sepp Hochreiter with us in this session from the Institute of Bioinformatics, and he will give us an insight on artificial intelligence, dedicated to distributed swarm operation. Hiroshi Ishii, the MIT Media Lab, thank you very much for participating as well. It's a very, very long, you've seen his opening. It was 2001 when we still had the old building. It was the first exhibition on the tangible bits. So there's a long collaboration going on with the MIT Media Lab, and I'm very happy that you'll share your thoughts about the swarms of the future with us here as well. What's very important, though, is even though the autonomous vehicles and all the technologies for it need to be developed on the first hand. So we need to look at them in a sense. But if we only focus on a single sand corn, we would never understand the meaning of a beach. And this is, in a way, what we try to express with the swarms. We don't want to play around with the single vehicles. We really want to see what's the meaning for our society of swarms. In this way, this sequence of collaborators here will give us an insight of all the different partners and about their perspective towards the futures. In a way, it's like we'll see torchlights going through the perspective of the future and popping up different ideas and different concepts in different directions with swarms here today. And I would like to ask Shingo Kinoshita to start the presentations. He's Executive Research Engineer Supervisor at NTT. NTT Japan is probably one of the biggest research facilities in Japan with 6,000 researchers working on the topic of communication in general. And he will give us an insight on swarms as a communication medium. Shingo-san, please. The stage is yours. Wouldn't get a bit. Just, I think, close it. Yeah.
It's okay. Okay. Thank you, Horst. Thank you for inviting me. My name is Shingo from NTT Corporation. I'm in charge of R&D direction and management, especially for 2020 Olympic Games. And last year, we started collaboration with Future Lab, and this is the second year. As the second year of project, we announced the new project, Swarm as a Communication Media. So today, I will explain this briefly. And first of all, it's very boring, but many of you don't know what is NTT Group, which is my company. And I will explain a very brief introduction of NTT Group. NTT Group is one of the world's largest ICT companies, as Horst said. And we have been supporting Japanese communication for more than 100 years. And now, we provide various kind of ICT services, ranging from telephone and mobile phone, internet access, and network, data center, and cloud security, and so on. And I'm in a research laboratory, so it's belonging to the headquarter companies of NTT Group. And next page shows our laboratory. So maybe my laboratory is one of the world's largest research institute among communication carriers. We have more than 2,500 researchers and 13 laboratories in 9 locations in Japan. And the research area is very wide, ranging from physics, psychology, and communication science, and of course, network, security, cloud. And especially recently we are very much focusing on the AI, IoT, and the media processing, UI, UX. And as you know, 2020 is the year of Olympic game and Paralympic game. And we, NTT, as a gold sponsor, we would like to contribute through the 2 types of challenges. First challenge is basic one, is to provide secure and reliable communication services. And the second one is very important here, to demonstrate it, new communication experience, very new and innovative communication experience, and to form a legacy. In the past big event, NTT has already created the new communication experiences. For example, in 1970, which is Osaka World Expo, we have developed and demonstrated the world's first wireless telephone. So this figure is this. And 1998, which is a Nagano Olympic game, we have developed and demonstrated the world's first watch-type PHS. And the key question is here, in 2020 or toward 2020, so what kind of new communication experiences should we create as a legacy? In order to answer this question, we have been engaging several activities. So this is our recent effort toward 2020 in order to create new communication experiences by cutting-edge technologies. So we have been engaging two types of activities. First one is to create new communication experiences for assistant. And the other one is new communication experiences for entertainment. For assistant, we have been engaging to create a new navigation support system for especially foreigners and disabled people in Haneda International Airport and the Tokyo Metro stations. And the other side, for entertainment, we have been engaging the new type of viewing of kabuki, which is Japanese traditional culture theater, and a new type of music live. So after this presentation, so I will show you some demonstration video. So first one is Haneda Airport and the Tokyo Metro experiment.
NTT is conducting trials into smart navigation at the Tokyo International Airport Terminal using big data-based control technology. Forecasting ever-changing conditions regarding crowds using analytics and AI. Overcrowding can be avoided by providing dynamic information signs at locations likely to be packed with people, such as the arrival lobby, making optimal human flow guidance possible. In addition, many passengers get on and off at main terminal stations and often have trouble locating which exit to take amid the confusion that occurs in complex stations. NTT is beginning an initiative to enable users to point their smartphone cameras at the station's information board and receive a 2.5-dimensional map that provides easy-to-understand guidance for all. NTT will continue to expand smart navigation services in the future to allow people to move around crowded places comfortably.
And next, we had the kabuki experiments by using the cutting-edge technology to
We invented a leading-edge technology that can transport not only visuals and sounds, but also an entire space and environment to anywhere in the world. Immersive telepresence technology, Kirari. The traditional Japanese theatrical art, kabuki, attracts millions of people across generations and borders. Using Kirari's technology, the entire 360-degree theater space of the Las Vegas show in America was transported to Japan in real time. Once the whole space was transported, the show was recreated through super wide stitching footage displayed on the full horizontal length of the theater. The kabuki actors were projected as if they were really there. The accurately recreated sound space provided the audience with realistic sensation. We were able to deliver the new ultra-realistic kabuki experience to a wider audience around the world.
And the final one is music live showcases by using the Kirari, and it's held in the South by Southwest 2017. It's very short.
At 10 p.m. on March 13, 2017, a revolutionary holographic live music showcase took place.
Welcome to the Cyber Teleportation Tokyo, presented by NTT.
This showcase, through powerful transfer and image extraction technologies, changed the game of live music entertainment, opening up new possibilities to future of sports and theater. Not only have we delivered a stage, but brought the artists closer to the audience, giving the...
So in addition to these activities, we are very much seeking for more innovative communication experiences. And we believe Swarm and Spaxels is expected as the optimal communication media. This is because unlike screens or smartphone and other signages, Spaxels or Swarm has very wonderful 4 features. One is location-free, and shape and size-free, and dimension-free. And finally, so this is a very important fact, factor, and it's very attractive and fun. It's very critical factors, I think, for communication. And in order to realize this objective, so we have started a new project, which name is Swarm as a Communication Media. Through this project, we would like to realize the swarm control infrastructure to realize new experiences for communication. And in order to make project concept more concrete, we have two types of future communication visions, clarify the future communication visions by utilizing swarm. Ambient navigation is the first vision of new communication experiences for assistant. And citywide public viewing is the second vision of new communication experiences for entertainment. Let me explain the first ambient navigation. Ambient navigation is some kind of a new type of navigations, which utilize not only existing media such as smartphone, digital signages, but also utilize swarm, including drone and IoT devices. We call it the small swarm compass. And by using ambient navigation, anyone, including the foreigners and disabled people and the elderly person who cannot use smartphone, can use navigation very easily, I believe. And swarm compass is new types of navigation by using swarm, including drones. And there are various types of navigations from personal, group to public navigation. And it supports AI-based intelligent navigation, which means it can respond to personal behavior patterns, and it can support dynamic guidance to suit current and future conditions situations. As Horst said, so you can see the actual demonstration of the swarm compass over there. Next stage is at 4 p.m. And the next one is for entertainment, cyber-wide public viewing vision. So not only on a screen, but also we can use the entire Tokyo city for public viewing. For example, we can see the big building projection in 2020, which is a projection mapping onto high buildings. And the second example is a swarm athlete. We can see the huge athlete in 2020, which is created by a lot of drones in the air. And swarm score. We can see the huge score created by the drone in the Tokyo sky. And also water display. You can see the athlete images, big image on the water surface. And you can enjoy the swarm arena, which is a kind of a virtual stadium by swarm. Not only actual athlete images can be transferred, but also reproduced physically by using the swarm or the other devices in remote stadium. This is another image of a swarm arena. So a very huge jumper is, we can see that. And finally, I will conclude the research issues. In order to achieve this project or goals, we have a lot of problems, issues. So main issues is there. For example, one is communication design between people and the swarm and other devices. And the second one, it's our mission. So we have to provide a real-time communication and the media processing. And compared to the existing Spaxels pre-programmed show, so we need a more real-time and interactive and heterogeneous swarm control. And also we have to cover high precision positioning technology. So in order to solve these problems, we have a lot of technologies. For example, communication processing, including 5G, high-density Wi-Fi technologies, and media processing using AI, and machine learning, and device control. And also, we have several researchers regarding the UI, UX design technologies, and also positioning. That's also for the 2020, so we and the Spaxels teams and other partners would like to achieve some goals for 2020. Thank you very much.
Turn on my microphone, thank you. Thank you very much. It gives a good insight on what's ahead of us in the next few years to 2020. A lot of things to be done, a lot of things to be worked at, and a lot of things to be integrated at. And integration and connectivity is also the topic of our next speaker's presentation, that we have Isabelle Borgert here from Audi, and she's representing the team about the in-car communication and connected car.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please welcome, yes.
So, thank you very much. My name is Isabelle Borgert, and as you have already heard, I'm from Audi, and I would love to start with a short video.
Can't think, can't sleep, can't breathe. Can't think, can't. No time to rest. We're only here to make you. We're only here to make you. We're only here to make you go.
Thank you very much. So today I'm going to talk about swarm intelligence, what cars and bees, yes, honeybees, do have in common. So, as you have just seen, we have been dealing with the topic of building cars, manufacturing vehicles for quite a time now. We have a history which is more than 100 years in the past with the company of Horst. And as you see, we have always been dedicated to building and manufacturing the most perfect vehicles. But what was more important was the driving experience for our customers. And here we've always tried to provide the best products to our customers. And here we see, for example, the new Audi A5. And to provide a very good driving experience to our customers, it was important for us not only to provide a high-quality interior, a state-of-the-art infotainment system, and new technologies, but also the comfort and the ease of use of the vehicle is very important for a pleasant driving experience. But compared with the past, we face different challenges at the moment. The digitalization fosters new competition, not only concerning the car itself. We are confronted with new manufacturers, for example, the Tesla, but also Faraday Future, who enter the field of building cars and be some kind of new competition, but also the product itself is in change. So we do not only sell cars, we sell mobility, and that is something which we have to take in mind and into consideration. Here we also face new customers like Uber. But also the retail experience, the retail itself, faces a change in digitalization with new entrants in the market. So facing all these new competition and even more unknown challenges yet to come, it is important to bear in mind what our core competencies are. So that's cars, and cars are real, tangible products, pretty cool products as I would say, and this product is what differentiates us from digital producers and digital competition. Because, for example, Google does not have a car itself. So here we see the very first analogy to bees, because we need to leverage this product into the digital world. We need to embed it in a whole ecosystem. And this ecosystem must be very holistic, just like a beehive. So the answer for Audi is a holistic digital ecosystem, and we made great strides towards this digital age. And the central platform for our customers is My Audi. And as you can see here, it is part of the ecosystem, and it is connected by the different fields of connected retail. As you might have guessed, that's a field which deals with the digitalization of retail processes. We do have connected mobility, which deals with the topic of providing new experiences and new products, mobility products to our customers. But also we have connected car. And connected car is the mother of digitalization inside of the car at Audi. And here we can see another analogy to the bees. Because so far, as I've told you, we do have this product, the car itself, and it's a pretty cool product. But so far, the car was only thought of such a mere product. But the car does also produce something, and this is data. And to make this analogy to the bees again, the data is like the honey which the bee produces. You cannot only see the bee as the bee product itself, but you have to take into consideration that the data, the honey, is very important, and that you can use this data, or the honey, as a product itself. In addition, the data also connects all these different fields of action, as you see it in our ecosystem here. And it is very important for this to build a platform that connects all this data. So how can we not only collect it, but also analyze the data? The reason and the answer which we have found is to build a holistic platform. And to have this holistic platform, that's why we bought here. And you have to think beyond the borders of just one company. That is why we engaged with BMW and Daimler to buy here in the end of 2015. As one of the most important providers of the industry, here provides highly accurate digital maps and location-based services for more than 200 countries and more than 50 languages. Why is this so important for us? Because it is the base for building new infotainment, connectivity, and assistance systems. Because with this data material provided by here, we can not only improve the existing mapping material which we have, but we can also build new services on which I will talk later on. With here, we have an outstanding database to expand our advance in the field of piloted driving. Piloted driving experience is experiencing a very fast development, and it builds on a very precise information inside of the map, because for piloted driving, you do not only need accurate data, you need it very precisely down to the centimeter, and also you need new layer of information which were not present before. So in the next step, we take this static information provided by here, which is already very accurate and very precisely, and we enhance it even further with real-time information which we get online. So for example, about the traffic flow. So the data, or the honey respectively, is not like the bees they collected with quite a lot of effort, but our cars collected automatically. So that's quite an advantage for us. And it is stored on these here backends. For the data collection, various sources can be used, just like cameras or the sensors built in the vehicle, but also the systems itself which provide information. So our engagement with here can also help us to monetize data in the future, and a possible way to monetize data I will introduce to you now. It is selling the data in forms of functions to our customers. And one function might be Hazard Alert, which is a Connect service which we introduced just recently, a few months ago. And with hazard alert, the customer can be warned of different hazardous events. It works just like a swarm of bees, where one bee detects an event, reports it back to the swarm, and the swarm knows about this situation. In this case, it might be a hazardous situation, for example, the loss of traction in a specific part or segment of the road. It might be an accident which is just ahead and about which you are informed in advance before you meet this dangerous situation. But it can also be an obstructed view, which might be caused by fog, for example. Another service which we introduced just recently is traffic sign information. And just like in a swarm of bees or also in a swarm of ants, the vehicles work together and they split tasks or split their work. Because if a car with camera-based traffic sign recognition sees a traffic sign, it can report this traffic sign back to the backend and server, and from there all other cars within the swarm participate from this information, are shared, and now they can see this new information in their maps as well. So it is really a swarm intelligence which is built up here. Another very cool service which every bee queen would wish for is Traffic Online, because with this service you can see moving of your swarm in real time. It is not about tracking down a single vehicle, it is more about where is this whole swarm moving very fast and where it is moving slower, so we know about the traffic situation. And that is used, for example, in navigation systems to provide you the very best and fastest route to your destination, because we can see where the traffic and where traffic jams in especially form and how to get around them. So to give you a little outlook on the future, what will be the next important steps in the terms of digitalization in the automotive industry? First of all, the distinction between analogous and digital functions is not that quite unambiguous. So we will have a fluent passage of what is now analogous to what is digital, and it won't be that easy for the customer to distinguish whether this is an online function or not, but we have to make sure that this is communicated very clearly to the customer and that the customer benefit is always in the focus. So furthermore, more optional equipments, not just the navigation system today, will have an online component and digital functionalities. And with the continuous development of new sensors, but also of data communication processes, and also with the increase of the swarm itself, we will see new swarm functions and an improved functionality. For what other purposes can the data provided by the swarm be used? As I mentioned, it is most important for us to foster the field of piloted driving and to provide information for this field. But furthermore, we can understand our consumer better, our customers. What do they really wish for? What does the car need to behave like a human? And do customers really want that? How does the car have to react? So being customer-centric really is key for us. What data we collect does not only help us to improve the car and its systems, but it does also concern piloted driving and new functionalities in the car. Furthermore, the systems which are already present in the car can benefit from swarm intelligence. For example, we do have the predictive cruise control, which adapts to the speed limits in advance. And if this information is more actual, more recent, then the system itself can function better and can adapt even more efficiently. Another very important point, which we can learn from the bees, is that we have to take into consideration our surroundings. So another very important part of the swarm intelligence is to communicate with what surrounds you. For example, the infrastructure in the cities. And for this, we also have specific functions in mind. For example, the communication with traffic lights. That's a service which we have also recently launched just in the US, unfortunately so far, but we plan to extend it even further. And with such functionalities, with this communication between vehicles and the infrastructure of a city, we are able to manage the traffic flow even more efficiently. So the swarm intelligence is not only an enabler for autonomous driving, and not only because it delivers the fastest route, but it also makes it possible to navigate and to coordinate a swarm real time. So to ensure future learning from bees, Audi also engages in the protection and further researching of bees. And that's why I would love to end this presentation with a little request that every one of you plants very bee-friendly flowers, just like I do. And I want to thank you all very much for your attention. Thanks.
Thanks again for also that insight in what's going on with in the automobile industry and in how far those cars are becoming sensors, so to speak, rather than actually moving you from A to B. I'm now looking forward to the presentation of Professor Hiroshi Ishii from the MIT Media Lab. What we will hear, hopefully, what we will investigate here is also the capability in terms of the radical atoms, a concept by Professor Ishii, forming materials out of single individual intelligent agents, which the question raises up, what do future materials have in common with swarms? Thank you very much.
Can you take photos of me?
Sure, yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay, can you hear me? Good, great. I was running another session 3 hours from 10 to 1. So my energy level is a bit low, but I ate banana, so I'm now regained energy. So thanks for inviting me to this very, very deep, profound sessions. Okay, so I think Spaxels is one of the most favorite, visible, amazing paintbrush in the sky, like fireworks, which is very, very visible and tangible. But behind that, there's a very important message about swarm intelligence. From AI, singular AI, to how to go to the massively parallel complex cluster of the intelligence, communicating each other, but also coordinating among them for resolving conflicts or maximizing efficiency is one of the big challenge. Because a lot of great representatives of the industry, so now I'm having a hat of the academia, I'd like to introduce 4 different important streams of the research which already happened in the past, but we should really take a look at from the new eyes of the smart swarm intelligence. Swarm intelligence is actually not so new. 1989, this was coined by the people, Gerald Benny and Jim Wang, and in the context of the AI. So swarm intelligence is the collective behavior of decentralized, self-organized system, natural or artificial. So many metaphors come from nature. As the previous presentations, beehive is one of the great examples. And this concept is employed in a work on AI. And also to scale up from a single machine, have close intelligence to the bunch of the intelligent machine, and human beings are collaborating. So this is the one stream of the research we should really take a look from a new perspective of current technologies, also needs. A-Life is another important means. Many people know the Carl Sims' work, which also exhibited in the SIGGRAPH and Ars Electronica as an art piece. But artificial life is a very important engine to animate amazing, massively parallel complex creatures or evolutions. So A-Life is a field of study where researchers examine systems related to natural life, its processes, and also evolution. So through the use of the heavy computer simulation and the graphical representation, they could really animate how artificial creatures can grow in the silicon chips, or to understand how real world can evolve. So I think Dr. Christopher Langton is one of the pioneers. He started the research institute around this theme. So hope A-Life come back to another important stream because now AI is a big hype. But the A-Life could be even more interesting because of biological metaphor. Another important stream of the research is distributed AI. And this is also old, like more 1980, already very, very good community to go to the massively parallel autonomous agent communicating, collaborating together. A lot of the framework and the programming environment and the experimental systems was developed using agent technology, concurrent object-oriented programming technology. So I encourage you, if you're interested about the academic point of view, to think about this subfield of AI, which is research dedicated to the development of distributed solution for complex problems. None of the single machine or single human, single issues can solve, but all together you can really tackle. This concept also leads to the collective intelligence that Dr. Doug Engelbart, my hero, really came up in 1980. So I think this multi-agent system or distributed AI or collective intelligence should be some important framework to study about swarm intelligence. Then last, it's a radical atoms. And this is a bit kind of strange kind of stuff, but we believe all the molecules, atoms, become to some extent intelligent, listening to the environment, compute, and react. As a whole, you can do a lot of interesting stuff, which people never dreamed. Because today, all the atoms, molecules are frozen, passive, shy, like wood, metal, or glass. But we are creating new crazy materials, like a transform. And transform make a shape or change. But you can see a lot of pins. You can imagine each pin has own intelligence, own sensing and computation. As a whole, what you can do. Let me show you one example of the future scenario. This is a visualization of the future scenario, not real, but we can make it work. So imagine all your materials, chair, table, environment is made of the radical atoms or intelligent materials, which talk each other, communicate together to accomplish more higher goal to make whatever. So it's context aware, of course, machine, computer, sensor, you know everything. But orchestrating bunch of those pins as an intelligent objects, then coordinate, you can create something a bit crazy. So we never do gamble on campus, but this is a demonstration, so don't take us long. But you can also physically actuate inert physical materials. That's the power of shape display of radical atoms. But the key idea is behind, there's a coordination, orchestration. Each pin has no consciousness that I'm a part of the building or heart. But having a communication and the coordination, you can create quite compelling scenarios. This is a scenario of the social communications. The most important thing, new materials like radical atoms and the swarm intelligence really enable new story, new interactive experience, which people never imagined, because that was simply impossible, because those materials didn't exist. Also, sophisticated coordination technique or distributed AI didn't exist. But now it's happening, as you saw previous presentation, all the cars autonomous. It's a cluster of the sensors and the actuators. We can do a lot of stuff. So let's go a bit more deeper to micro scale, bacteria. Also in the scale of the bacteria, we can do a lot of stuff if we hack bacteria, because bacteria is intelligent. And we found that bio is a new interface, is a new digital, is a very powerful statement of Nicolas Negroponte. He's a guy who started all the digital kind of stuff, bits and atoms, or being digital. Hope you remember. And so we realized the Bacillus subtilis natto bacteria. Who like natto? Not so many. Okay, a bunch of Japanese. Okay, we love natto. But we found natto is a great machine, sensor of relative humidities, also actuator to make things happen, move. So we came up with the idea, why don't we leap from human-machine interface, but towards human living machine interface. In this case, millions of bacteria as a cluster, swarm, becomes a machine, sensor, and actuator. So this is a biological project we exhibited since last year in the Ars Electronica Center. This is the second skin, breathing skin, that you can wear. And the sweat, relative humidity, drives this bacteria to wake up and expand, actuate. Now you see the flap. Each flap has millions of bacteria living and responding to sweat. It opens the flap, then control the ventilation. So that's a machine, bunch of the machine communicating each other. That's a biologic. So you can think about all the biological entity or physical atoms, molecules, or electrons, or plasma can be the hackable new materials. But the one thing critical is the coordination, how to coordinate them all work. So also because in Ars Electronica, it's very important how to communicate these future concepts in the artistic context. So now showing the steamboat steaming to the biological fabric. So a bunch of the billions of bacteria working, then changing a shape as you see it in real time. So that's real time. Then we made a machine printer. There's no such printer for deposition of the liquid that contains bacteria a few years ago. So this is all the nature stuff, bacteria that God designed and the nature provide. This is symbolic representation of the human body, and you can really see in the Ars Electronica centers as a display of the concept. But that's not enough. It's not strong enough, not beautiful enough. Real beauty is us, human beings in motion, trained artists to express their artistic ideas, but also they feel bacteria working on the back. So they're customizing, modifying the way to dance. That's so cool. That's a collaboration with the bacteria and the human dancers. So these also raise a lot of interesting questions because swarm intelligence takes a lot of the metaphor from nature. Nature is very different. Who are the engineer? Good. Engineer want to control, precision, important. Nature you can't control, so out of control. All scales so different. Nature derived, let it grow, let it die, let it decay. It's very different from maintenance, building, constructing stuff. So we can really see a lot of interesting opportunity to think about this biological world as a metaphor to think about swarm intelligence. And thanks again to Ars Electronica allow us to extend one more year of these exhibitions in Ars Electronica Center and the second floor. It's still open. Hope you guys have a chance to go there. And you can see all these materials. But the important thing, all the materials made of the molecule. Imagine all the molecule has a sensor, wireless communication capability, and a display, including actuation for shape changing. Then all of a sudden, swarm intelligence become very powerful, important mechanism to go beyond current IoT, bunch of the gadget, toaster, fridge talking each other, so what, who care, like stuff. And also, we are very happy that last year, when we designed the Radical Atoms exhibition, one of the important directions is anti-gravity, levitation. Of course, Horst the baby, Spaxels really inspired me because all the, but also we have a tiny stuff called Xeron. In the left side of the screen, you see our tiny levitating interface. But he painted all the sky with all the flying drones. Also, Professor Joachim Zauter, who just gave a talk in my previous session, did an amazing, beautiful installation called Infinity Cube. All the metal cubes hung, but the orchestrated harmony, so kinetic sculpture. It's such a beautiful like stuff. So if you connect all the stuff, that means heaven, levitate, then defy gravity. So I think swarm intelligence, all the amazing this technology or biological finding is a great tailwind. So only the limitation is our imagination. So sky's the limit. So hope we can really vigorously pursue this amazing kind of a new space to filling in the new conceptual framework, technology, and also meaningful applications. And also please drop by our exhibition. Today, it's open till 8 p.m., but also continue till next June. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this very eye-opening impact. Thank you very much. There will be, hopefully, if we can manage in time, a short time at least available for discussion and questions at the very end of the panel. And I hope that there will be some, I already have a lot of questions to be asked. We are also very interested to exchange with you. So most of us, actually all of us, are here throughout the night as well, so throughout the evening. So whenever you find one of the researchers, one of the persons you want to talk to, please just talk to us also after the conference. The next point of view is a very big, also for design and art, important tool set called Autodesk. And I'm very happy to welcome here Philipp Müller. He is the responsible person for the entire education program. Please step up. Please welcome Philipp. He's going to give us an insight on, and also the perspective on swarms from within the making of, not swarms, but the making with swarms. Philipp, thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Does it work? Hello, hello. So it's a real pleasure to be here. Actually, after our last call, I mentioned that it has been 20 years since I've first been in touch with Ars Electronica, born and raised in Austria. So I'm really happy to be here to present. So the company I'm working for is Autodesk. I'm going to briefly give an overview on what we're doing and what we think are the future is, including swarm technologies. In Autodesk itself, our vision is to help people to imagine, design, and create a better world. What does that mean? So these are big words, but so what does that mean? So if you've been driving maybe a very powerful car, you've been looking at a very impressive skyline and buildings, or you've been even experiencing a really cool movie, Autodesk technology has probably been a part of it. At the moment itself, we have around 5.6 million users. But one thing we're totally designated to as well is students and educators. Autodesk strongly believes that the future generations are the power of the future, and especially what we think is really important is that the future students will be experiencing the world different as we do today. Autodesk has been around for a couple of years. I think now it's around 30-ish years. So with the disruptions you all heard about probably the whole conference long, we also have to adapt really fast to all the changes, although we are a software company. So the advances in manufacturing, for example, have really changed a lot of it, and the production itself. We do think as well that by the time of 2020, there will be probably around 5.6 billion, 50 billion connected devices, which also will be a very interesting aspect to take account of. Autodesk itself focuses on 4 major divisions. So we are in the car manufacturing area, construction, infrastructure, but as well as media and entertainment. I think one aspect which is really interesting is even that I kind of segmented this, these different industries kind of converge to each other. So what you're seeing maybe today, so the car itself is a visualization where manufacturing technology has been used, but also visualization technology for media and entertainment. If you're looking at the skyscraper or prefabrication today, there's lots of knowledge as well from manufacturing maybe inside this. And if you look into media and entertainment, for example, there's been lots of back and forth with our technologies as well. To kind of give an impression on how things are changing or how we kind of see also the synopsis between all those different technologies are, here's a little preview of our Artist in Residence program, Pier 9. So what we see here is that different technologies from our side, it could be from the M&E industry, from simulating different aspects, from visualization of bis even talking to machines and going back and forth. So I think this is a really important part also for us in Autodesk to kind of acknowledge that in the future it's going to be a collaborative work together. And I think there's also the point of swarms itself going to be a very interesting aspect. Shortly, also to give an overview on the little disruptions which we see now in the software industry from our perspective of. So our history itself comes from the area of documentation. So we, back then in the 1980s, disrupted the industry a little bit from going from the drawing board directly into CAD and bringing it basically into the computer. The really amazing thing was things became suddenly more accurate. You were able to look at a paper basically where it didn't depend on how good the person itself was in drawing or not. The problem itself, what you kind of see is that the information still was sitting in the computer and not made the transition to the paper and not made the transition over to the construction site or to the fabricator. Since 10, 15 years, we are now in the area of optimization. What does that exactly mean? So we basically brought 2D to 3D and kind of looked at what the potentials are. Looking at 3D is actually really interesting because suddenly when you move into 3 dimensions, you can attach lots of information to it. And lots of information gives you lots of possibility, as we heard throughout the course of the event, that data is a huge topic which could be interesting in the future. To give out also an idea what we think about with data, so if you have different conditions you're thinking of and you kind of let this run by a computer and let it optimize themselves, you suddenly end up with a form which actually doesn't resonate to what you're thinking of it looked in the past, but it's something which is probably more robust, easy to fabricate because it's 3D printable, and also more durable probably than a standard product. So this is a one-off project, totally applies to all the different needs it needs to do, and is also fast to produce. So this is state of the art. The next topic, I think, which we're going to move into, and which is going to be, I think, having a huge impact in talking about the topic of connecting everything together. As Horst mentioned, it's not about the sandcorn, it's basically about connecting everything together and learning from it. The platform on which we are heavily investing right now for that special topic, as well in connecting, is Autodesk Forge. I have a small video clip on that, what that means for us for the construction industry, but also has applications for different industries. So basically what you see here is a drone which is connected over the software from 3D Robotics to the iPad. Basically the surveyor gives itself an area which the drone needs to fly off. On board it has a camera which actually directly generates a 3D model out of the pictures it takes. You would think, what does that make actually sense for? So it's actually really interesting if you take two-dimensional information and make it 3D. What you see here is a pile of sand or gravel, which is on the construction side. And you do have to think on how to move that gravel forward, how to move it, how much is it. And just having a small run with a drone, gives you all the information, how much gravel there is, how much it can be moved, and how much it would probably take in time or cost to get that relocated. Normally, like in an old traditional way, you would have surveyors come there, they would totally close down the site, and then in the end would give you a result as well, but would take way longer than this procedure can be. So this was a very short run, basically through my through Autodesk itself, so how we position itself, what the different segments are, and hope it was interesting to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Also, what is actually very interesting is that there's a lot of intelligence necessary to create like really the machine itself, creating all the mechanics, creating all the aspects of, as we have seen in the example, a drone. That does mean that the computer does have a very clear understanding on not only the requirements, but on the meaning of a drone in terms of aviation and stability. So that leads more or less directly to our last presentation. And I may introduce and ask Sepp Hochreiter to join the stage. Please welcome Professor Sepp Hochreiter from Sepp Hochreiter is professor at the Bioinformatics, is head of the Bioinformatics Institute of the Johannes Kepler University, and he will give us an insight on artificial intelligence, where he is an international expert in working with enterprises as Google and all the activities, a lot with the car industry as well, as we will hear, and we are looking very much forward to your information. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the introduction. I think it's set up. It's a home game. I have my institute here in Linz. I want to start. All of you are aware of AI. AI is coming. AI will come. AI will be in the future ubiquitous. It will pervade your life, your whole life, in work, in holidays. It will be everywhere. Be prepared. That's not what you should expect. That's Hollywood. Forget this. There's Matrix, there's Terminator. Matrix, humans are used as batteries. It's stupid, it's not intelligence. There are better technologies out there for making batteries. What is AI? Here, some notes are made. First of all, it was coined 1965 by John McCarthy. Only a couple of words to this. It's a machine which exhibits intelligence. AI would be a machine who has cognitive functions which are normally attributed to humans. And I will emphasize deep learning. Deep learning is now driving the AI research. I am one of the pioneers in deep learning. Deep learning revolutionized vision, speech, and text processing. All big IT companies, Facebook, Microsoft, Baidu, Apple, are betting on this technology. Deep learning. Deep learning, intelligence from big data. Here, what is deep learning? The big topic is artificial intelligence. A subtopic is learning, to acquire knowledge by looking at the data, inductive reasoning. And a subtopic is deep learning, which is learning using neural networks, things we should have in our brain. What is deep learning? It's neural networks. These are old guys, we know them for 30 years, the neural networks. But now we have fast computers and big data. Big data is not a curse, it's a pleasure for us. Big data enables deep learning, but only with new technologies, GPUs, compute power, and new techniques also in the neural network. So new techniques for neural networks are multiple level of representations. That's new, that's the idea. The system, the AI, learns to get out abstract concepts out of the data. That's a new thing. but it already started in 1991 with long short-term memory, which I did in my diploma thesis. Here a short sketch what I mean with different levels of abstractions. So most left image shows some edge detectors. From the edge detectors you build some parts of faces, then you build faces. The new thing is the machine detects this by itself. This was not possible a couple of years ago. The machine creates better features than any human. The same in drug design. Now we have we have neural networks, which are better chemists than the chemists in pharma companies. They know more about chemistry because they looked on more data. Deep learning has a huge impact on speech-text language, especially with the thing I invented, long short-term memory. Now it's in, I think a couple of you guys have cell phones, in every cell phone for speech and language recognition, but also in Amazon's Alexa, Facebook, translation, Google's translation. It's also viewed one of the key moments in deep learning, here by the magazine Fortune. It's used by Facebook for text analysis. It's used by Google, you know Google. In OK Google, if you have a cell phone, you say OK Google, it recognizes your voice. It's used by Amazon, Alexa. Some of you guys perhaps already have Alexa. Who has Alexa? Nobody? Google Home? I think it's still to come. And it will connect all the devices. We are here in the swarm intelligence. This will come. Your home is connected to your car, to your fridge, everything. Also, another company called Apple is using LSTM for, let's say, high Siri, this technique. Deep learning in vision, that has a huge impact. I want to show you, I don't know whether I can start it.
Cheers.
That's what's possible now. You have a cell phone, put it to some object, and it's telling you what it sees. So AI is telling you what it sees.
You are looking at a new Apple earbuds.
Hey, wow.
Perhaps a mic bit loud.
That's like magic. I mean, I don't know how they can. Wow, that's so impressive.
As this guy is blind and the cell phone told him what it is seeing. That's impressive. Another example, on the art side, the guy on the right-hand side is talking, but now the AI is overlaying with some artistic style, which you see on the left-hand side. And it's in real time and also quite impressive what you can do there, perhaps. I go ahead once, the bronze statue you should see. Then I go ahead. And this is even more interesting for some guys. I hope you know this guy, the guy on the lower left. The other guy I don't think you should know. On the left you see a guy at the top who is making some faces, and a guy on the bottom you should know. And on the right hand side it's the combinations overlay. What the guy is doing, this politician is imitating. Be aware, the elections, do you know whether there's some student making some faces, or is this a politician? I don't see Putin sitting somewhere, then I'm safe. This is also style transfer. I think also in this event you see a show on this. I go ahead, deep learning for autonomous systems. We are doing this. Here in Linz, we established the Audi.jku Deep Learning Center. It's AI techniques for self-driving cars. Especially we use the LSTM, I already mentioned, for attention. You should not analyze the whole image, but only the stuff which is of interest for self-driving cars. Here, a video ignores a star in front of it. We do it with Audi. That's semantic segmentation, it's a camera, and we color according to what the AI system is seeing, cars, pedestrians, trees, street, or whatever. And now, here, the swarm intelligence comes in. What we are doing right now is one car has a camera, but now you can transfer what is done by one car to the other car because they're driving the same street, they're seeing the same thing, not the same pedestrians, but the buildings, the cars, parking. And that's the new thing, doing all this system by letting all these cars, in this case from Audi, working together as a swarm and increasing their knowledge about the world, what's going on here. We also use deep learning for drug design. We have projects with here IMEC, Janssen, AstraZeneca, a lot of pharma companies, also Merck. Where came swarms in? We collaborate with Bayer Crop Science, and here we use drones. The drones analyze where more water is needed on the fields, on the crop fields, for example. And another drones, they communicate with each other, brings the water there. And this technique should be also applied to poor countries, which are low on food, to help them to grow enough food. It's much cheaper than putting water everywhere, putting some stuff everywhere. It's cheaper, more efficient, gives more food. That's a global view with remote sensing, where on the field water is needed. Some is needed here. The fields are monitored, and each individual field is analyzed what's needed. We use distributed learning also with other pharma companies. Here, the partners are not mobile, they are fixed, but the AI is not on one place, it's distributed across different places. In this case, across different pharma companies. Also pharma companies working together to build one big AI, having knowledge about drug design. That's this. Now, I'm going to finish. That's a thing which was not possible 5 years ago. Computers now can understand images. You see, what do you see? Baseball, perhaps? Let's ask the computer, the AI. The AI sees a baseball player throwing a ball in front of the field. I see a ball, makes sense. What do you see? Frisbee? Yes. Let's ask the people are playing a frisbee on grass. Yes, there's grass here. People, I believe this. What do you see? Let's ask the computer. What is it seeing? A dog is walking on sandy beach. Yes, that's okay. What does the computer see? A man riding on a bike through the mud. Yes, absolutely right. Here, I have problems because I'm not in material arts. What does the computer see? There are two men who appear to be practicing material arts. The computer has a good knowledge because I was not aware they are only practicing, but they are far apart. What do you see? Actually, we have a collaboration with Zalando. Let's ask the computer. The computer sees a pretty young girl holding a wine bottle in her hand. Stop, I have to excuse the computer. In our data, shoes were mostly on the feet, and if you have something red in your hand, it was the most kind a wine bottle. There the computer is okay. But more interesting is, how does the computer know that's a pretty young girl? and we did some investigation on this, and we figured out that the computer detected a physical law. All women are young and pretty. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to ask all the speakers of the round to join the stage, and I would like to invite you in the audience to raise your hand, give a sign, ask a question. So maybe I can, there's already a question. We'll start right away, please here.
Yeah, I guess it's a question for any of you, actually. I'm familiar with the early work on swarm intelligence, the book that was produced at the Santa Fe Institute by Marco Dorigo, Guita Rales, and Eric Bonobo. When I look at their work now, they don't use the word intelligence to talk about swarm intelligence. And I'm just wondering what kind of grade intelligence you can use to describe swarm intelligence. If it's just gathering data, is that really a form of intelligence, or does it come with a neural network that, where you get the intelligence coming in? To what extent is swarm intelligence?
No, yeah, now you hear me. I'm more familiar with intelligence, as I described it, but if the swarm would be able to do cognitive things like humans are doing, and that's an add-on more than an individual is doing, then it's intelligence attributed to the swarm, to the synergetic effects of all these entities building the swarm. But I'm not an expert in swarm intelligence. I'm looking at neural networks. Perhaps the other guys have a better answer to this.
I think intelligence is something ill-defined notions. If you see the history of AI, character recognition was important substream of the AI. But once people devise the algorithm to pattern recognition, then machines start reading, recognizing the character, handwritten character. Then people say, no, it's not intelligent. My intelligence is much more deeper. Then this field of character recognition has to leap from AI. So it's like a mirage. People believe I'm so intelligent, machine cannot really emulate, blah, blah, blah. So for me, talk about smart intelligence, just we perceive the behaviors is nice, useful, meaningful, like a bunch of thermostat controlling air conditioning. Could be also the swarm intelligence. In that case, we shouldn't use human being as a model. Once people use human being as a model threshold, it's fall apart. Because I'm an engineer, I'm a scientist, I know we can't build it.
Thank you. Thank you. There's another question from this side.
Would the legislation in Japan allows to do something with drones inside the stadium during the ceremony there?
Yeah, my question. To be honest, so in Japan, it's very, there are a lot of restrictions. So at this moment, so it's very difficult to do that. But in 1 or 2 years, so government or other institutions started to release or decrease the restrictions. So we hope we can do that in 1 year to 2 years. Is a question, okay? Okay.
And I have another one. What about the noise issues of drones? So do you see this as a major issue for social acceptance of this?
Yeah, so when we are using the drone in the public areas, so the noise is a very big problem. And we can solve this problem by using some hardware technologies, but our company is not a hardware technologies, but we are a lot of researchers who are very good at handling the noise or the sound. So maybe I hope they can cancel the noise of the drones by using some sound, decreasing the sound. So, but at this moment, so I don't have a concrete ideas.
We did this is noise cancellation. There are methods out there. Also for ships, you don't hear it anymore because you make something like an anti-sound. These systems are out.
And also, I think in terms of production, manufacturing, that's your address. There's also possibilities to optimize, of course, the rotors. For example, if you're talking about drones as multicopters, to also optimize against noise production. But it's hard to eliminate because it's a physical kind of situation at the moment. So maybe also different impetus for the future will pop up. There's another one, please. Oh, here in the back, okay.
Sorry, I'm not an expert on the topic, just a layperson, but what I understand there's fundamentally weak AI and strong AI. So weak AI would be something that we currently already have, neural networks for image recognitions and self-driving cars and whatnot, but they are only functional within one domain that they are trained in. An image recognition network that is trained to be good at recognizing furniture will never by itself make a decision to go over to start designing an algorithm to figure out how to drive a vehicle and whatnot. But strong AI would be something that's totally, or at least fundamentally autonomous and multi-purpose. Do you think that strong AI is even possible, or will we ever have a strong AI? Is it maybe needed at all?
I have the micro. I'm the boss of the micro. Good question. Visit us here in Linz at the university. There's a new LIT AI. LIT stands for Linz Institute of Technology AI lab. Our goal is to build a strong AI. A strong AI is an AI who has knowledge about the world. It is doing vision, but not vision for ImageNet or whatever, but it's recognizing humans, no matter what the task is. It's recognizing cars, no matter what the task is. It's recognizing a coffee mug, no matter what the task is. The idea is to build a strong AI with vision, with audio, and also with actuator. You can move arms and so on. And then deliver this strong AI to companies like we do now with students. We build students at the university. They're not specialized. They have skills. We now are going to build AIs who have skills, but they're not specialized. They become drivers, they become household robots and stuff like this. Join us, JKU. We're doing exactly that.
The next question will be here.
From a user perspective, if we look to AI systems, from a user perspective, I'm not sure, does it work reliable? How do you measure the quality of an AI system? Do we need a second AI system to measure this quality as competing AI system? And how do we track back errors? How do we, as a user, see if an AI system makes an error? Do we have to rely on AI systems forever, or how is it?
Should I start again? Or? I don't want to take over the stage. First of all, AIs, the strong AIs, as I called, will steadily learn, continuously learn. And what we as humans will do, we will build a selective pressure on them. So AIs who help us will be multiplied, allowed to learn more and better. The AIs who failed, hurt us, do things we don't like, they will not be multiplied. Therefore, there's a strong selective pressure on them, meaning automatically they improve, because we give reinforcement signals to them. We say, no, that was not good. No, I don't like it. They will learn, and we will select. So it's going automatically, like with dogs.
And we just go on.
Okay. Frank Flemish from Aachen University. First of all, thank you for the fascinating insights. Sepp Hochreiter, you were mentioning the Hollywood picture of the Terminator and that we should not be afraid of AI. I strongly disagree. We should be afraid and also have safeguards in place, and there's an increasing discussion going on worldwide, for example, on fighting robots and also on swarm intelligence, on superintelligence. And we are discussing also scientifically how to put these safeguards in place. For example, human societies are based on values, and how do we place these values into our machines? How does this interact with deep learning? How can deep learning also learn values or mislearn values?
I'm still on. I don't hear me. I hear me. Somebody else can also answer. But I already answered it. We will select the right AI, so to say. We will not let them hurt us. But that's a very dangerous technique. You can use it for war, you can misuse it, but it's also for all other techniques. Yes, we should be aware of this. Yes, we should be careful. But what I meant is AIs became more and more intelligent and will kill humans. I don't think that's a thing which will come in the near future because of the selective pressure. And if an AI becomes very intelligent, why should it be interested in humans? It will talk to other AIs which are on its levels. We don't talk with ants, we don't talk with fish, we don't talk with bacteria because it's not very interesting for us.
Am I allowed to answer on this? The development is very fast right now, and also especially the United States is looking deeply into AI on the robotic fields. Like the company Boston Dynamics, for example, and they dream of cleaning a whole area by robots. So it will be fighting humans, and we have an intense discussion going on within NATO to restrict this, so not to allow this and to ban this as similar to like we have banned landmines or chemical weapons.
Completely agree. Like with all technology, you have to be carefully using it. There should be regulations who can when use it and stuff like this. There will be also new regulations who is responsible, the guy who builds the AI, the guy who trains the AI, the guy who employs the AI. There are many things we have to think about, but I don't like to be scared of without looking at the technology because there are some Hollywood films out there that not the approach I like. But we should be careful, agreed.
At this point, I would like to jump in again because I think that is what the Ars Electronica is about. To raise the most critical questions on the challenges or the risks, but also on the opportunities and the possibilities for technologies in our future. And the intersection, the usage of those technologies for the arts in order to inspire, to create perspectives, and in order to even engage the entire society, not only the scientists or the experts, or not only the artists and the politicians, to engage the entire society to come up with the ethical criteria for the technologies of our future. But I have to end here. Thank you very much, and thanks again for the speakers of this afternoon. Thank you.